Hey there and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie and I do videos about lifestyle, faith, adoption, and travel. But today I'm actually continuing on in my Steadfast series, which Steadfast was my word of the year for this year. So let's go ahead and jump in. Like I said, Steadfast was my word of the year, and it basically means like unwavering, continuing on in your goals and not letting anything get in the way. And so what I wanted to do as a part of this journey is I wanted to document each month and kind of how I was following or not following through on my Steadfast journey. And so I committed to writing a blog post and making a video each month, kind of recapping everything. Well, let's just say life has been a little weird lately and I did not stick to that. So I guess I was not steadfast in that way. So I think the last time I did an update was April. So today is going to actually be a recap for May, June, and July. Now July is not over yet, but I just know that the end of the month is going to be very crazy. I'm going to be out of town, so I thought I'll just update you now on kind of where I am. And before I jump into it, I just want to say if you have not checked out any of my other videos, you may want to check out my Steadfast playlist, which I will link above. In the first video, I explained kind of why I chose this word for 2020, and I also kind of expressed some of my goals along with it. Basically, there are three categories that I've been trying to improve my steadfastness in. The first one is my spiritual walk. I'm a Christian, and so obviously my faith is really important to me, and so I wanted to be more steadfast in my spiritual life. I also wanted to be more steadfast in the areas of just health and wellness, and so just taking time to exercise, trying to eat more healthy foods, just taking care of my body well. And then the third category is creative endeavors like YouTube and my blog. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I have not done well in the past 3 months. So I think at the beginning of coronavirus, things were like a little bit okay, but then without the schedule, I really struggle. Like when schedule is just ripped out from under me, I can just be very lazy sometimes, and I can also just like let things just happen around me and I don't pay attention. I'm just like, oh yeah, we can do whatever. I'm just kind of laid back in that sense. And so obviously not having a schedule was a little difficult, but then I felt like I had a decent month. Like I want to say like April, it was a little bit better. And then May happened, and May is my birthday month, and I just, especially like the health and wellness stuff just went out the window. Like I just did not care. I was so sick of quarantine. I was so sick of all that. And it was just like, no, I don't want to restrict myself anymore. And so not that I was restricting, but I was, you know, kind of telling myself, oh, I want to make sure I'm eating vegetables this many times, or I'm only having a treat this many times. And it just got a little bit hard and I didn't stick with it. And so I'm here to tell you I was not very steadfast in that area. And it was kind of hard to get back on track with it. It did not help that in June, I think it was in June, yeah, in June, I sprained my ankle. And so exercising then also became hard. And I actually was, even when I wasn't like always eating really healthy, I actually was exercising pretty consistently, like whether it was just walking my dog or doing things like that. I was getting active basically. But after I sprained my ankle, it was a pretty bad sprain. It lasted for a while. I really got out of the habit. And so now I'm trying to get myself back into the habit. I will say that in July, I have been walking on our treadmill again inside. It is like blazing hot outside. And so I have not been like walking outside very much. So the health category really hasn't been great recently, but it is slowly improving. And I think once we have we're adopting again, if you haven't noticed that yet. We're adopting, and I think once our 2 new kiddos are fully in our home, we will be following like a better schedule in general, and so there won't be as much freedom to just like go out to eat and things like that. So I actually think that's going to help us a lot. But the next category I'll talk about is the YouTube and blogging. So I will say over the past few months, YouTube I've stayed very consistent with. I've really been enjoying creating videos. I do enjoy editing them, not as much as creating them, but it's part of the process. And I've really been enjoying just the community aspect of like people who comment on the videos and getting to hear your stories and things like that. And so I have been more consistent with YouTube. Now, I will say I have missed a few weeks. Like I did not post about a week ago. I didn't post. And then I think there were a couple weeks before that where I missed a week as well. But we are going through the process of adopting kids, and I kind of knew that I was going to have to step back. And in fact, my husband Nick was kind of like, you know, you need to not put so much pressure on yourself to be posting all the time when we're going through this process and kids are visiting, because what's more important? And I totally agree with that. I do, however, still want to be posting consistently, and so that is something, if I miss a week, you know, and I have a good reason, I miss a week. Most people are not just like clicking their subscriptions box, like waiting to check my videos all the time. And so I need to not put that pressure on myself if it's not really there. And so I am doing it. I'm trying to make it an enjoyable thing, but also still be consistent with it. Now, blogging, I will say I have not been blogging very much. It's been really hard for me to like sit down and focus and write something recently. I think my brain is just like, woo, like everything's going on in the world right now. And sometimes it feels like I shouldn't be posting things unless I'm going to talk about those serious topics. And I also don't really necessarily want to just add to the noise of that right now. And so I have struggled with the blog writing aspect of things. I do have a blog that I'm planning on posting this week that I'm pretty happy with, and it is just more of a personal thing going on that I wanted to share about. So I am trying to stick to that and not, like, I want to be consistent with it, but also not put all this pressure on myself that's unnecessary. So I'm trying to find that balance. But the third category I like to end with is talking about my spiritual life. And I will say that during this whole quarantine time, my spiritual life has really been suffering. Like I said, when I'm off of a schedule, I have a hard time sticking to things. I'm just not naturally a person who's like, I'm gonna do this and then checks off the whole thing, which is exactly why I chose Steadfast as my word of the year. But I've really struggled to get into my Bible and to want to spend time in it, and I've been very addicted to this thing right here, my phone, and that's something I really think has gotten in the way of my spiritual growth, and just like it's a huge distraction from prayer. It's a huge distraction from even just like sitting alone with my thoughts and thinking, and allowing myself to just like listen to God and allow myself to like listen to the Holy Spirit and its leading in my life. I'm just constantly glued to my phone, and I'm just very aware of that recently. And so that is something I'm kind of trying to work on. One thing I'm trying to do is, for now, I have not deleted my social media apps, but I have moved them off of my like home screen. So I still have Pinterest there because I'm not as tempted by that, but like Facebook and Instagram, which are the two big ones that I waste a lot of time on, are not on my home screen. Now, I can still get to them pretty fast, but I feel like it takes me more than just a second and clicking it, and so I find that I'm more likely to kind of stop and think. But I'm actually considering doing like a week, or at least a weekend maybe to start, where I just delete the apps off my phone and just don't go on them at all. I think that would be really great for me. I do feel this like addiction in a sense. That sounds so dramatic, but I do. Like, it's like if I'm bored, if I'm uncomfortable, whatever, I just pull it open, and I don't think that is allowing me to really have time to think, really have time to sit with my thoughts, which I think is important, and especially is not giving me time to pray. Like, I would love to say that, you know, I see something and I pray about it and it prompts me to pray, but that's not always what happens. A lot of times I see something and it prompts me to worry about it, and I'm just consuming content instead of really taking time to think. So that is something I want to work on. In addition to that, I also feel that a big reason my spiritual life has suffered is because, and a reason that this whole Steadfast journey has suffered, is because I've been trying to do this on my own strength. It's hard to admit that, because I want to say that I've been relying on God and his strength, but I really haven't. Like, I've been like, well, being steadfast is what I need to do, and I need to make sure I'm checking off this list and doing these things. I think that's a danger with a word of the year like this. I'm typically not the type of person who's like gotta check it off my list, or got to check my Bible reading off my list. But when you do choose a word like steadfast and you're trying to do things consistently, it can easily become like that type of mentality. And so I have definitely felt myself slipping into that, and I don't want it to be that way. And so I feel like I'm kind of like beating myself up when I fail at things, but I'm also like not praying about it. I'm not praying for the strength to be steadfast. I'm just kind of trying to do things on my own. And so that's something I've been really trying to combat. And one thing that I decided, I was like, I really need to just get a paper devotional book, obviously because I'm addicted to my phone. And I was doing a Bible study with girls in my house church on an app called the Bible app. Or I think it's called the Bible app. I don't know, something like that. But it is really great, but I feel like for where I am right now in terms of phone addiction, it's better for me to have something on paper that I'm not going to get distracted. And so I was like going on Amazon and I was like, I'm going to just look for a good devotional book. I haven't done one of those in a really long time, and I wanted one that I could write in. And I kid you not, I typed in like, I can't remember exactly what I typed in, like devotional book based on like a book of the Bible. Like I didn't want it to just be like a, I don't know, like not really based on an actual book, because sometimes those can just be drawing from all these things. And like the second thing that popped up on my Amazon search results was a devotional book called Steadfast. And it was a study on James. And it was like by someone from the Gospel Coalition, like a website that I do really like. And I was just like, wow, I feel like God just gave me this book because he knew what I was looking for. I was just like, what are the odds that me typing in devotional book about a book of the Bible, the second result would be Steadfast. It's literally called Steadfast. And so I told Nick, I was like, I think I need to buy this. And he was like, no, I totally understand. So I'll show it to you. So this is the book. It's called Steadfast, and it is by Courtney Doctor, and it's a devotional Bible study in the book of James. And I really like it so far. So basically they provide the text. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. They actually provide the text in the book, like the biblical text that you're going to read for the day, which I enjoy because I like to be able to write in it and like write in the margins and underline things and stuff like that. And so that is really cool. And they do, now here's the thing, the study actually, when I first opened it and read the beginning part, it was like you need a half hour every single day to do this. And I was kind of like, oh, that's a really long time to go from nothing to a half hour. So in order to make it, you know, something I feel like I can do, I'm just telling myself I'm going to, you know, at least do half of each day every day. So if it stretches out longer, that's fine. And I might not be following it perfectly, but I think I will stay more steadfast and consistent if I don't set these really like unrealistic expectations, going from not reading my Bible for honestly like months to reading a half hour every single day. I didn't want it to feel like legalistic, but I also wanted to be consistent. So it's kind of a hard balance there, but I've really been enjoying it so far. And I'm just excited to see how this kind of helps me along this journey this year. And just how cool is it that it's called Steadfast, and that's like the main theme of the book. And so this is something I'm really looking forward to. If you're interested in this, I'll link it below. Barely anyone watches my Steadfast videos, but they're more for me than for you. Anyway, so that is kind of where I am in the past 3 months. And you know, I cannot actually promise right now that I'm going to be updating you every month with adopting 2 new kids and adjusting. I may end up kind of doing quarterly type of things. So I may 3 months from now do another one where I recap. And I think that's part of this journey for me, is not trying to be perfect, but trying to be consistent in the ways that I can and what makes sense with my life. So I'm trying to balance that. I appreciate grace and patience, and hope that this encourages you on your journey, whatever journey you're on, whether it's to be more steadfast or I don't know what your word of the year is or what your goals are, but I hope that this encourages you that even when you fail, like I just did, even when you stop pursuing those goals and you get distracted, that it's always, you're always able to come back to those and pick them up again and try again. So I hope that encourages you, and I hope you're having an awesome week and a great month. And I hope you had a great last 3 months as well, as I didn't update you. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and also subscribe for more of my content. Like I said, I'll be making more Steadfast videos, but also if you're interested in things like travel or lifestyle or adoption, I make a lot of videos about that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.